Hello, Knockouts. Tonya TKO here, and I'm a self-love specialist from TonyaTKO.com. I help you learn how to love yourself and each other. On this channel, we talk about self-loving or self-abusing through relationships, as well as viral topics that are teachable moments for our own lives in terms of dating and relating. Okay, so right now it's being reported by Gossip of the City. The DA is only willing to prosecute Dominique M. Williams if Jasmine Eiland cooperates, which she has made clear she doesn't want to do. Dominique lawyered up, so they wasn't able to question him. The results from the rape kit still haven't come back, but without her cooperation, this case will be over before it even starts. Okay. And then the bottom caption says, no case most likely unless this second victim comes forward. Then we may have results, but everyone is acting scared. All right. You know, for the first time in my life, I realized the extreme importance of having a PR manager, public relations manager, somebody to come out and control the conversation. Because I don't know where Gossip in the City is getting its intel from. I don't know where this has been confirmed. There's no citing of the source. And the people inside of the island camp are not coming forward and giving statements that can help gear the conversation. And, we think about Olivia Pope and how she was always jumping ahead of the story. The fictional Olivia Pope, jumping ahead of the story. And I remember when I used to watch the show, I used to be like, that's so dramatic, just let it ride out, people will forget or whatnot. And as a vlogger covering this story with a lot of breaking new details coming out, and people, one of the things that I'm really stunned by, we talk about how we were never fooled by Russian bots and trolls, etc. But I see how easy it is for people to get some twisted information and take that information and run with it. You remember the game telephone that we used to play back in school, and by the time it got to the last person, the message was completely different than it had been relayed. And it's kind of like that in this situation, where there's so many people speculating and coming out, and people reading comments and headlines and not really reading the full story and taking the headline or the comment as truth and then telling that to somebody else and then posting it here, there, and everywhere. Now, this site is called Gossip of the City. However, I've been told that they come with good information. However, please, let's cite our sources so that other people can feel comfortable coming forward and relaying as accurate information as possible. So I'm citing my source as Gossip of the City. And I would really love if someone close to the island camp can have a conversation. But you know what? If with direction of counsel, so that the things that are expressed in such a way to be able to adhere to what's in the best interest of what's going to happen going forward. I hope that it's not true that that she's not cooperating, but if she had a suicide attempt, there's a mandatory 72-hour hold. So if she doesn't have her phone with her and she's on this mandatory hold, how is she supposed to be cooperating? In all of this, we hear nothing about Jasmine's parents. The people that we have seen coming out about this have been just a ragtag bunch of people who, in varying degrees, don't seem credible, except for the I forget her name. Ugh. Astasia, except for her, who came out, claiming to be a friend and asking for, prayers and kindness, etc. But other than that, we have a person who claimed to be her brother who came out attacking her. We got her husband on the night that she's in the hospital in the studio promoting his trap music, talking, and people talking about gangs and stuff inside the, and then rapping misogynistic lyrics, all surrounding. That's the part, like, some of you were like, why did that upset you so much? And I'm like, your wife is in the hospital suffering from an attempted suicide, and we don't see the vicious cycle of then going into the studio rapping music that objectifies women and their bodies, most likely black women, because when we imagine who these trap rappers are talking about, objectifying and dehumanizing black women in their lyrics. And I'm just like, okay, so then we have him, then we have other people. It's just, it's stunning. It's stunning. But one of the things that's glaringly obvious in this whole entire situation is that Jasmine doesn't have support. She doesn't have a system of support in place to help her navigate through this, to have helped her navigate through her life. It's so, it's so, man, I'm not going to talk for a long time. I just wanted to just put this out there and just give a call to action. And from what it is that I gather, there are people close to the island camp who do watch these videos. I don't know if Jasmine has had a chance to watch videos or she's just been inundated with the comments, etc. But I'm going to say this, Jasmine, please be strong. Honey, I know it's not easy. I know it's not easy. And none of us could really imagine what it is exactly that you're going through. And anybody in your exact circumstances, with your exact background and your exact experiences, would be feeling the exact same way that you're feeling right now. And that's okay. There is life after this. Continue to put one foot in front of the other. Just one foot in front of the other. You don't have to think about the finish line. You don't have to think about any of that, but just one foot. If you can commit to making just one step, and then the next day, another step, and just each day choose the step and make it. I just, I, you know, I truly do believe that everything happens for a reason. I truly do believe that everything happens for a reason. And this situation with Jasmine is generation defining. This is a story that will be entered into the history books. And there's so many of us, I talk about being on the right side of history. There's so many of us who are going to have to come to terms with how we decided to handle this situation looking back in hindsight. And so we can make the choice right now about whether or not we're going to be on the right side of history. We know what's the right thing to do in this case, in this situation. So I say to Jasmine, just continue to put one foot in front of the other. You know, when I think about the circumstances from where Jasmine must have come that led her up until that night. And I was actually contacted by a young lady who was supposed to have plans with Dominic that night. But she said something in her spirit just told her not to go. And so she feels terrible that this happened to Jasmine, but also feeling relief that she didn't go out with him. So grappling with that guilt right there, you know. I was somebody, you know what? I have to give applause and congratulations and just a huge thank you to the people who have been sending me content. Somebody sent me somebody sent me this documentary interviewing psychopath sex abusers. And I was listening to the interviews, and the woman it's so funny. The woman who conducted the interviews was like, "Well, listen to this. Is he telling the truth? Is he not telling the truth?" And I was listening to the interviews, and I was like, "No, this person is not telling the truth." Well, you guys know that I'm energy sensitive anyway, right? But there were certain similarities between what these psychopaths were saying and some of the things that existed in Dominic's in his phone interview. And the strange part about it is that there's this MO where people fit the profile of the nice guy or the nice person, so they're able to operate under the radar, wreaking all types of havoc, where the victims are not believed. This one guy, he said that his stepson reported him 7 times, and even the police told him, to just brush it off because the stepson was a problem child, right? The stepson was a problem. Of course, he was a problem child. He was being molested. And so there are people who know how to pick their victims. They listen. They're master manipulators, masters at psychological manipulation and also profiling and grooming, so that they pick people who already have issues, who no one would believe. They get into these positions of trust and power, and they do all of this good and wonderful philanthropic stuff. Meanwhile, they are monsters of mayhem behind the scenes. And it's like people used Bill Cosby's reputation of just this philanthropic good guy, the America's dad, they called him America's dad. And I asked people the question, if it were the Al Bundy character, would you be more apt to believe that he were a serial offender or assaulter just based on his TV character? Or if it was the Archie Bunker character, and it was alleged that he had assaulted people. But see, it's like people who are these psychotic assaulters, they create these cloaked personalities and these cloaked lifestyles. It's like that's part of what stops so many abused women from coming forward, because when they do speak up about it, people are defending their partner, and people know, and these manipulative people, see, I'm a life coach. So I don't let people get away with placing the blame. So when these I was going to say psychos, but I'll just say when these psychopaths are talking about what the other person has done and, oh, woe is me and all this other stuff, I don't take that. Mm-mm. I don't accept it. So it's like, in listening to Dominic try to shed doubt and throw doubt onto Jasmine's character, etc., I'm like, let's keep the focus on you, son. Let's keep the focus on you. Mm, mm, mm. And then gaslighter extraordinaire. If you read, I put up the footage and the messages that the second accuser came forward with, that she says Dominic was sending to her, and how he was gaslighting her and pretending as if, just, you know what, read it for yourself. But you have people like this who hide in plain sight. But then would it even matter if they spoke out loud about who they are, like the Pied Piper? It's like, do these people even have to hide it? Do we care about young black girls and young black boys enough? Or are we so beleaguered with the downtrodden black man that we allow him to wreak havoc because, oh, he has it so hard in so many other instances, poor little boo boo, or tink tink, as some of you like to say? So that he is above reprise, he is above reproach, he is above criticism. He's been through so much. Won't you shut up? Just shut up and let this man wreak his havoc. Haven't you seen how much he's been through? Meanwhile, as the victims lay scattered across the nation and across the neighborhoods, as he wreaks his havoc on them because he himself says he's been so wreaked. So much to think about and ponder here. But on that note, I'm going to get out of here. I want your comments below. And be sure to enter the conversation. Like the video if you choose to. Share it with somebody who you want to get in on the conversation if you choose to. But I really want to hear your thoughts. This is a pivotal time in history, and I want to know, are you going to be on the right side of history on this one? Can we step outside of our prejudices enough to be able to acknowledge what it is that we saw with our own two eyes? Dominique the creep cannot say that his hands are clean. And in listening to this video with these psychopaths and the excuses that they make for themselves, who knows what's going on in this man's mind, allegedly? Who knows? And how he justifies violating, being a predator, using and abusing women who can't defend themselves. Who knows what type of fetish he has? But you know what? Listen, we cannot control other people. The only people we can control is ourselves. So what is it that you're going to do? What are you going to do? And my words to Jasmine is fight, baby. Fight. We don't know exactly where it is that you came from and what type of support you do or don't have. And we know blood isn't always thicker than water. Fight, baby, fight. Let us know what type of support you need to be able to make it through this trying time. We cannot change our paths. We cannot change our past. But we can change our path, where it is that we're going and how it looks when we get there, one foot in front of the other. Fight, baby, fight. We saw him sexually assault you. Fight. We got your back. There are some loud, empty barrels that are making a lot of noise. And I am willing to fight with you. Now, I don't know what are some of these other things that existed in your life and some of the choices that may have come out of a lack of self-love, etc. That's not for me to... That is not on trial. However, we saw this man sexually assault you, and that is. So on that note, Tonya TKO, and I am out. Go out there and love one another, but most importantly, what? Love yourself. And love yourself enough to know that there is life after your current circumstances. There's life after this. Continue to put one foot in front of the other. Just one foot.